a lot of us have seen the end game or the end of season 1, basically cinematic, where the whole thing goes down. Tyrellian, Illyria gets stabbed, all this other shit happening, and then this part where Sylvanas shows up. Right now, we got the full story basically of the beginning or mid of Midnight. Okay, we missed this, says Doran. Zaloteth is already inside the World Soul. The last time we saw Zaloteth, right, she dodges the Sylvanas arrow, goes and stands above the Void Well, and then gets ported down into it. Where did she go when that happened? I'm not sure. She went down into the planet, from what it seems, closer to the World Soul, maybe. Let's see what Doran's saying that we perhaps missed in this cinematic, and how the birth of the Dawn Well may not be what we all needed at this time. Let's see where Zaloteth currently is here as we get into this video.
Something absolutely insane just happened, and no, this is not my speculation. New dialogues as well as a new cinematic confirmed that Zaloteth's plan really was, and that was to distract us and use the Dark Well to channel thousands of her Void followers directly into the World Soul Chamber. This might also tie in with what Zalot was building in Alota, which is why she attacked him in the first place.
I'll just say right now, I think he's coming back. I think Zalot's coming back. When she whipped out the dagger, I was like, where the hell did she get that? Why does she have the dagger? We left that thing with N'Zoth. We stabbed his carapace with it. What's going on? Yeah, of course he... Yeah, I always thought his death was just ridiculous. He knew it was coming, too. We learned in Dragonflight that he knew his death was coming. Why the fuck would the greatest planner of all the old gods, the greatest schemer of them all, just let his death happen that he knew was going to happen? I don't think so. I think he's coming back.
And it might also explain why we just determined a Void version of N'Zoth, a new model. All this seems like 12.2 content that will probably be fully announced on BlizzCon this year together with The Last Titan. So what is about to happen now won't be foreshadowing. We are probably already going to see the Titans coming by the time of 12.2, and looks like Zaloteth is finally completing her plan. No longer just talking and foreshadowing, she is going all in. So what is everything we just learned? Warhammer, Red Dead Redemption, WoW Game Time, Destiny, you can get all of this at amazing prices with my link in the description below. You also got mobile top-ups, software, a bunch more with the best prices on the market. Better yet, if you use my code DORAN, you will get another discount on top, so click my link in the description and get the best deals ever at Gamivo. So something that was pretty obvious from the start just fully happened, and I think we might finally know what is going to happen in 12.2, and I think this is a huge turning point for Midnight, as I think we can, with pretty good accuracy, predict what is going to happen in The Last Titan and why the Titans may return. Unfortunately, something really weird happened as well, and I don't want to spoil much here, but literally they just wrapped up the entire long anticipated Elven reunion in literally a single patch, and it was barely even a storyline.
Yeah,
and once again,
this is why I think people are a little bit upset. They really thought that this whole unification of the elves was going to take the entire expansion. They're like, all this hate between all these elven races, and we just solved it in a patch? Damn. That's what I think, and I thought the same thing. I thought we're not going to see this kind of cinematic really until the end of the expansion. We got it in Season 1, so we still got 2 more seasons in Midnight, and the elves have already figured out all their problems. So that's why people were really pissed. Or at least not, I wouldn't say pissed, maybe. They were just upset that this happened so quickly.
It's a whole, let's just hug it out and work together storyline, but there were also some cinematics that you might have missed, which are huge reveals, and actually potentially the biggest story information, as for the past 3 years, Zaloteth has just been foreshadowing a foreshadowing to foreshadow a foreshadow, but I think what we speculated about in the past has finally been confirmed. So just as we could predict, the invasion of Quaterlas was obviously not the main goal. It appears that the main reason she even targeted the Sunwell was because of the ley line connection, so that she could get to the World Soul, and this honestly makes complete sense. I mean, it was never about Quaterlas or taking over the Elven Kingdom or destroying them. It was always about the Sunwell being used as a means to an end.
Now what is she using it for? Damn, that's a good pause. Yeah, what is that? That was what he was showing in his thumbnail. I don't know if that's actually anything or he's just fucking playing with us. But this is interesting, whatever the fuck this is. And then, what was she using it for? We don't know. Like I said, if you watch the animation, which I'm sure he's going to show here in a second, she clearly ports into the ground. Where is she going? Probably fucking something to do with Azeroth. But we'll see what the kind of ramifications of what she does at the end of the cinematic are, I'm sure, during the Midnight expansion. Justin in chat says the reunification of elves is fragile and obviously temporary. They are all weary of it, and it's obvious, and anyone pay attention. Now, I agree. It's definitely a friendship of convenience right now. I think especially the night elves are still very iffy about keeping this well even going at this point. They mentioned it while they were unifying, and then the high elves and their unification. Yeah, they talk about the offering of the crown and all this other shit. But I think people are still there's a lot of blood elves that probably still don't like the high elves. So that whole unification, yes, it's a unification of kind of necessity right now, and I think that's why it happens so fast. Is the world necessitated it happens fast. Otherwise, they would have just been blown apart.
If you guys can observe the new Sylvana cinematic, you can actually see the Darkwell channel behind her, but if you pause at the right sections of the video, you will see that this is not just like a void found of energy.
Those are void guys.
You can see that she's literally transporting the void army and channeling them down directly at the world soul.
Oh, he wasn't playing with us. That's legit. I never even noticed this, but yeah, they look like those voidy boys. And they're actually getting ported into the planet.
Not just like a void found of energy. I mean, you can see that she's literally transporting the void army and channeling them down directly at the world soul.
It's a good catch.
It literally just happened in plain sight. I mean, we think we won, we defended quite a lot, but her plan is completely on point. Like, in no way was she actually defeated.
The goal from the start
was to just hijack the Sunwell, fill it with void energy, and use it as like a giant laser teleportation beam to reach the true goal, which is obviously the world soul. Now, so that you don't think this is my speculation and seeing things where there are no things, I mean, there is literally a cinematic with Romet and Umbric that happens after the entire creation of the Dawnwell and the cleansing of the Darkwell, where they say this outright, and not like some twisted sentence where you can extrapolate that, maybe this is her goal, like, they just say this outright. They say, sure, we cleansed it, but we were completely duped. Did you realize that the Void Army was moving down through it into the deep underground?
Yeah, it seems like we cleansed it, but not because we defeated Zaloteth. It's just Zaloteth was done with it. She did what she wanted it. She got in there, spread them cheeks, and did whatever she wanted. And she was like, "All right, I'm done. You guys can do whatever you want with this now." And that's why we were able to convert it back out of being a void well.
Thousands and thousands of void monstrosities.
Also, we defeated Lura, but I think Zaloteth could have stopped us from doing that. She just didn't care at that point.
These channeled down into the deep underground of Azeroth, and then for some reason they wonder what could Zaloteth potentially seek at the heart of the world. I mean, they realize that she just used them to get to the heart of the world, and they exclaim that at the end they fear that the true invasion is about to begin. So literally,
they're telling us what happened.
Full new cinematic that confirms this. Now, it's pretty obvious that this was the goal from the start. Is we're literally.
I'll be honest. I always do the stay a while and listens because I think they always reveal really cool stuff. But this probably should have been in the cinematic. I think maybe this conversation should have been part of the cinematic because this is really important stuff that I'm sure there's a lot of people just skip those stay a while and listens, so they would have missed this.
Part 2 of the saga called the World Soul Saga, not the Sunwell Saga. And I'm also kind of surprised that these guys are surprised themselves that Zaloteth is after the World Soul when that was kind of pretty obvious from the start. Furthermore, there is another cinematic mentioning the Radiant Song and Beledar, so honestly at this point it seems pretty obvious that Midnight is going to end at the Chamber of the World Soul, or it is going to have something to do with the World Soul itself, like some sort of a transformation. So far it seems like we might just mess around in Quaterlast a little bit more with the Amani Troll patch, potentially the Forsaken patch, and Sylvanas, but the main story is probably going to be put on pause right now. It's pretty obvious that 12.1 is going to be over by BlizzCon, when they're going to announce 12.2 and the Last Titan at the same time, which is almost certainly going to involve the Sword of Sargeras and the...
Yeah, we're probably going to get 3 seasons like we've been getting in these expansions. So season 1 really was like whatever Zaloteth's plan was going into Midnight has now been completed. Season 2 does seem like it's going to be the Amani Troll. We deal with these weird Loa things and all that other shit going on in that patch. And then Season 3 will probably be the launch of the Titans, right? Something's going to happen in Season 3 that triggers the return of the Titans or begins their return, and that's when we go into the Last Titan. But Season 2 does seem like it's going to be a kind of diversion, a little bit of a break from the main storyline.
World Soul, and it will explain why we will go to Northrend. I don't think Midnight is going to really have an ending. I mean, she's going to do something absolutely...
Oh yeah, the sword. Are we going to deal with what sword? Yeah, you're right. Maybe season 3 will be about the sword. Because you're right. Someone was saying, Ludvar in chat says, this whole saga started with Thrall and Anduin. So, right, where is Thrall? They were sitting in the desert. You're right. They were sitting... Now, Anduin's here. Anduin was at the Sunwell. He was helping channel the shit. He also shows up in the cinematic, standing there with Prophet Velen. But Thrall is... yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what Thrall's doing. What's he up to? He could just be playing with his rocks. I don't know. But right now, yeah, we still have a sword that we haven't dealt with. The literal what sword trope is only becoming stronger and stronger, because literally we are going to finish this whole thing and still have not dealt with the sword. So we'll see. Maybe the sword comes into play in Season 3. I forgot about that.
Daisy in 12.2, and they're going to announce the expansion with it. So we are going to know that we need to go to Northrend, but first, we're going to have to deal with this. If you guys have watched my channel in the past, I've talked about the Midnight ending right around Silic.
Scott says, I'm new to WoW. I need a catch-up story. There's so many good ones out there. Well, I'll give you some ideas here in a second.
And the sword, which, as they told us, is a 13.0 thing, meaning that it could be a thing that is going to lead into the last Titan. Now, what is going to happen here is honestly just kind of hard to predict, whether she's just pumping the world soul filled with the void or she's doing something else like trying to destroy the chamber. What is 100% certain is that Zalot is now in the heart of Azeroth with the giant void army that she managed to successfully channel down there. In my opinion, I think this is going to play into the entire N'Zoth storyline, and here a few things to keep in mind, a few bits of evidence. Remember the cinematic and the storyline from The War Within that showed how Zalot attacked N'Zoth and the Old Gods because N'Zoth was building something in Ny'alotha. Then in 12.0.5 we literally data mine N'Zoth's model, but a void version of N'Zoth's model.
Right, I talked about this.
These two things in mind, I don't think it's hard to predict that this will somehow play into Zalot's plan. As we know, we still haven't seen the true Ny'alotha, and we don't even know the true location of Ny'alotha, but I'm guessing N'Zoth was building something around the World Soul, maybe to take it for himself, and Zalot attacked him because she wanted to take it for herself instead. Then the Old Gods almost managed to get Azeroth after they defeated Zalot.
Didn't Metzen mention that at BlizzCon that Zal won't last the whole expansion? Did he say that? I don't know if he said that. I know he said you are not prepared for what's coming, and yeah, obviously that's a hint at Illidan. And if Illidan comes back, I think we can assume Sargeras is coming back. They're both sitting together right now. So with the Titans' return, Sargeras' return, Illidan's return, all seemingly guaranteed. If they do come back, I think Eridikron, obviously, he's coming back because that's what he's been waiting for this whole time. He's been edging himself this entire time, waiting for the Titans to return. So he comes back. Is Zalot still involved in the story at that point? I don't know. She seems to want the Titans to come back too. I've said before that I think maybe she wants to become a Titan or something. That seems maybe she wants to, I don't know, put herself into the World Soul and become Azeroth, and this way she'll be immortal, because her end game is immortality. That's what she always talks about. She talks about living forever. Survival is her end goal at all times. So yeah, what better way to survive than to become an immortal Titan, basically. So we'll see if she's still around when the Titans show up. But I don't remember him ever saying that she's not going to be around for this entire series.
But then the Titans came in the last moment and took over.
Sargeras can come take his stupid sword back. Yes.
Near the end. So now Zalot has been free, and she's going to come to do what she wanted to do in like the ages past. When the Titans realize that Zalot is about to take over Azeroth, they're probably going to come to the main base of operations, which is Ulduar and Northrend, and that is when everything is going to happen. Everything is going to go down. The only thing that I kind of can't seem to figure out yet, to wrap my head around, is how this is going to play into Silitus and the Sword of Sargeras. But I think that this is going to be connected.
Hey, you fuckers in chat. You guys pre-watching this shit? How'd you guys know he's going to talk about the sword? This is what always happens to me. This is what happens to me. You come up with a gigabrain comment, and then everyone accuses you of fucking pre-watching. How's it feel now? I'm flipping it on you guys. You guys are the pre-watchers now. Talking about the sword before Doran did. How dare you?
Illidan and Sargeras that we know are going to return in the next expansion. However, the data so far that we know is that Zelda just swindled us around and used the Sunbelt to distract us while she teleports her main entire Void army into Azeroth's World Soul. Whether she's going to use the Void forces to break the Titan prison over Azeroth or to actually corrupt it, it's honestly hard to tell. I mean, it's obvious that she's going to trigger something really bad. It also now makes sense why Harandar is in this expansion, despite the fact that we know it was moved from the War Within. It's all going to be connected to what they just said, and that is going deep underground. Probably a bit of a shifted timeline, as this should have probably already happened in the War Within, and it might have foreshadowed why she even went to the Sunwell in the first place. So right now the lore is kind of all over the place, but the pieces do seem to finally be falling into place and making sense. So looks like around BlizzCon this year, and after 12.1, WoW is finally going to start picking things up, and it is going to get hot. I mean, no longer just the hand holding, the preparing, the Zelda giving us her 20th villain speech about how we have no idea about her plans. Looks like all the foreshadowing is finally going to unravel. All the years of foreshadowing, and we may be in for some really interesting new lore. Thanks for watching. Check out my video on how the Void just hijacked the part of the Scourge by clicking on the screen, and check out my brand new Witcher lore channel by clicking on the screen as well.
Nice.
See you next time.
Yeah, nice video overall. This lore is, I mean, it's clearly heading in a direction of Zaloteth's plans going to come to fruition. Titans are going to show up. Bam, we're in the next expansion. We all know that's what's going to happen. Now, what happens to each individual character? What happens with how we get there? What happens with the Sword of Sargeras? These are all questions we still have. But I tell you, one big W, easy W, Blizzard's going to have is, if N'Zoth comes back, which I think he will, you get some sort of cinematic involving Zaloteth's feet and the tentacles of N'Zoth. You do that, I mean, that's an internet W. That'll be immortalized forever. People will run with that back to mommy and tell them all about how they just saw the greatest thing ever. So, easy win for Blizzard on that part. Other than that, I like where the lore is going. I think it's interesting so far. We'll see what ends up happening. A lot of loose ends that are going to get tied up soon. Nice video from Doran.